Keep 100% of your claim. G4 Claims.
If you've been hurt in a road accident that wasn't your fault, you should really talk to G4 Claims first. Unlike road accident solicitors, we don't charge you for our services, which could see you better off. To keep 100% of your compensation, have a chat with Nicole and the team. You'll be glad you did. Search online for G4 Claims.
Keep 100% of your claim. G4 Claims.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Sellik the Thunder podcast. I am your host, Ryan Fitzsimons, Ryan118. It's good to be with you. We're on to episode 136 of the show. It's the final run-in now. No more international breaks, no more absence. From here till the end of the season, we've got a few weeks to go. And joining me in those few weeks till the end of the season, I have got my loyal companions. First of all, the man in the middle today. Weird you being in the middle seat.
I know. I'm not usually a big fan of it because the middle seat always means this mic, and I feel like I need to lean into it like that.
I feel like it's like so tall as well. Like.
I know, I'm up here.
Welcome back, Ryan McGinley. I'm so sorry, Ryan. If you've turned this on, I'm so sorry. Anyway, Kieran, how you doing?
I know bad. I feel like every time I come on here, I'm just saying, just walking away in that usual, but that's really all there is that's happening at this time of year, and it is depressing. But I mean, you've got summer on the horizon. You had a few days of nice weather. Obviously ended the night by biblical floods in Wishaw, but
I'll be surprised if we make it down the road without like try to cross a river, basically. You know what I mean? Need to get out and like see that Top Gear special where they had to build a bridge over the River Kwai, stuff like that. But I mean, I guess we're going to touch on the disappointment of the derby. But you excited for the final part of the season despite that loss?
I mean, obviously it was a kick in the teeth, but we know what's on the line now. Nothing's changed from before that game, so we just need to crack on now. I'm sure we'll get into it in more depth.
And joining us to get into it in more depth at the other end of the table, it's Dylan. How you doing, Dylan?
Hi, Ryan. Good to be back. It's good to be back to talk about Celtic, I guess, because I feel like you never know what to do in international breaks sometimes. On the weekends, and I'm like, what do people do?
Watch Scotland and Stevie Clark.
Steve Clark ball, man.
I never realised until right now that you're wearing the LA Knight jumper.
Yeah.
I had no clue that's what it was until right now. You were at Raw on Monday. How was that? Did you enjoy it?
It was fun, wasn't it?
It was good. I had a good night.
We'll scrap Xavier Woods after that.
So you bumped into who at the garage?
It was Xavier Woods and Carlito, wasn't it?
Hurricane.
That was pretty fun.
Do you know what the worst part about that is? If you were ever apart from a night when Monday Night Raw was here, you'd think you'd be spiked if you ran into you have no clue about these three at all, right? But if you ran into Xavier Woods, Hurricane Helms, and who was the third one? Carlito. If you bump, that's a badging.
So random, innit?
It's a badging.
I was hoping Liv Morgan was going to show up.
Who was the one that was filming for like the balcony of garage? You know, the wee guys were like
Xavier Woods. Because he's like a big heel at the minute. You know what I mean? On that note, just my last wrestling point for now. Big shout out to Pepsi Phil, who is now an honorary Celtic the Thunder member. He might not be here in physical presence, but he's certainly here in spirit. Thank you, brother. Appreciate it. Anyway, we better talk about football before we lose half our demographic.
You've already lost them.
Sellik are back this weekend, but we do have a few things to touch on before we preview the Hearts game. Look, listen, let's just get the elephant in the room out the way. We didn't do too well with our derby predictions. All of us kind of sitting here with a wee bit of egg on our face, maybe some more than others. What was your prediction? What did I go with again? In the end, 4-0?
4-0, 4-1, something like that.
That didn't happen, did it? Kieran, how important is it that we don't let this derail our season? Because there's already been a bit of an online phenomenon following that game. So many players are to apparently be sold in the summer. Brendan Rodgers might have to wind up and call it a day. How do we get back on track?
I mean, pretty similar to after the last one, where you just sort of... I mean, both of them are really hard to take. Especially that one. It felt... That first half especially was criminal, the way we lost it. But it's after the one at Ibrox as well. It was a case of right, we're still X amount clear, but it's also about just getting the wins now under the belt. You've got a few tough games up before the split. You've got Hearts at home, St Johnstone away, and then Kilmarnock at home to wrap things up before the split. You need maximum points at that. You need to begin yourself the chance to win the league at the earliest possible convenience. But it's about bouncing back, because you said a lot of players now have been told they're not good enough by the Celtic support. I think it is obviously the reaction that stems from getting beat half of them. It's no nice, but obviously there's been some overreaction online. But I mean, it wouldn't it be us if there wasn't any overreaction online after a defeat. But I mean, it's no nice to get beat after them. And the point I will raise about even in terms of the league, I think going into the next derby game, it's a must win. Obviously, maybe knowing the context of the league, but I think in terms of getting a bit of pride back, because you can't go out and win the league, chance of winning the treble whilst getting beat after them 3 times. I mean, like, it would still be the trophies, it would still hang a bit. It's just, I don't know, it stings a wee bit if they were to come out with 3 derby wins this season and no winning a thing. I mean, it is kind of funny in some sense, but you just you need to level it up.
As a fan of Celtic, you just do not take any losses to them. It's just unacceptable. But what I think frustrates me is I just pulled up the and I'll come on to your opinion in a second, Dylan, not to leave you at the end of the table, but it's just so funny how Celtic fans work, isn't it? It says, look, listen, once again, unacceptable, losing at home to a Rangers side who are miles behind us just shouldn't be happening, and we'll maybe discuss why that happened in a moment. But like February 18th 2025, we draw 1-1 at the Allianz, and everybody's talking about the feel good spirit and the optimism for Europe next year and how we're on the precipice of building something truly special if we just back the manager. Sunday the 16th of March 2025, not even a full month later, we're talking about binning off the manager and players online. And that comes after scoring 5 against Aberdeen, 5 against St Mirren, gone through to the Scottish Cup semi-final, and obviously that kind of sore loss at Easter Road. But things are generally not to be over-worried about, I think. Would you agree with that?
I mean, I would agree with it. I think people have obviously lost the heat because it's getting beat at home, as you said, after a Rangers side who we've spent all season saying are not good. So I think it is just a kick in the balls at that sense that they shouldn't be beating us, and yet they have twice this season. They ran as close in the League Cup final. It just feels like the past few games against them, we've came out saying, we've not been at our best. You need to try and find that level, and especially you're going to be going to Ibrox now. Hopefully by that point, champions. But it doesn't matter. I mean, like we always talk about, they're good when the pressure's off, and that's usually when they get their wins in the derbies. And I mean, you could argue that for the 2 times they've won this season, that the pressure's been off because Celtic were so many clear going into both of the games. So in the grand scheme of things, it's not really made too much of a difference. But as we say, you just want to fucking get 1 error on them.
Dylan, a lot of the conversation following the game, and I think it's probably fair, is that the manager needs to take accountability for the way that we've handled these couple of games. Tactically, we've maybe not been well set up. The Rangers have gotten the better of us with a physical battle in the park. Do you think that there was maybe an element, and now it's time to get rid of maybe, I don't even want to use the word overconfidence, maybe more on the side of complacency? Maybe the fact that we are so far ahead hasn't helped, because Brendan Rodgers sat there in the press conference and said, I don't notice any difference in Rangers. Was that maybe naive of him? Is that something that he needs to watch out now for the next few games, the next derby, just generally from now till the end of the season?
I think so, to be honest, because I think a lot of people we spoke about after it was like, why is Rodgers getting into these games so quick? I know he's allowed because we've been brilliant all season, but I think Ibrox should have been a wake-up call for the sort of things like 3-0. It should have been the wake-up call for Celtic, especially what Kieran said. First off was criminal at Celtic Park, you're losing to your rivals, but I think it annoys you more the fact that Celtic are that far ahead of Rangers in the league. It's like, I don't know if it's just the players have rocked up, no one's hungry, because it was like, hopefully before the wake-up call was going to be Ibrox, and it wasn't. Rangers were just other things, see other tactics and stuff, second to every ball, just like they were made up for it. I don't know if it's because they get the bounce for the Europa League, the penalty wins and stuff, but it was just really frustrating that Celtic gave themselves a mountain to climb, albeit the second half was much better, but to concede, obviously the Alistair Johnston mistake, and then to lose it like that just after the hard work makes it that more annoying and frustrating. But as you said, it was a bit weird that Brendan Rodgers was so confident, I'd say, going into it, because like nothing was guaranteed, but one he definitely needs to watch out for in the future.
It's just Rodgers, isn't it, I suppose. There is always an element of Rodgers being that kind of out there character.
We know his records. brilliant against Rangers. I think that's why sometimes you can let him away with it here and there, but it does make it that more annoying.
I know.
Sometimes.
I think he's more than allowed to, share his confidence and his thoughts on Rangers, because going into it, and I'll stand by it, I'm not going to. I sat on this very chair basically last time we were in here, and I said, well, he's well within his rights to say it, because he's just saying what the truth is. Like, I hadn't noticed much of a change in Rangers. They lost at home to Motherwell. I mean, that's the same problem that was there, but maybe, Kieran, is there a share of responsibility? Because Dylan touched on the point that some of the players didn't look hungry enough. And you've got to say, if it wasn't for Johnston's performance, who knows, Celtic could have won the game. Granted, we gave ourselves that mountain to climb, but there was maybe a lot of people that need to look at that game and go, right, from now to the end of the season, 13 points clear or no, we can't treat any opposition like lesser opponents.
I know, I do get the point about Rodgers, but I mean, as we've said here, he's obviously entitled to say what he wants. You're never going to be able to cam Brendan Rodgers for being over the top and egotistical. It's just not possible. He's gonna say what's on his mind. He's gonna have a wee smirk before he thinks of a joke and then hope it lands in the press conference. But nah, it's one of the ones you're talking about, players not showing up in the day. I think there was a good amount of players in that part that you could have said that, but obviously you've got the standout maybe not being the word, the opposite of standout in a good sense. Like, you had some of the players absolutely stink up the gaff.
Standout stinkers.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly the term that it's going to be coined for it. But I mean, there was people evidently know at the top of their game. I think every single player on the park must have been singled out on Twitter in various different posts. So people do need to step up to the mark. I think even looking at the game in a more tactical sense, the fact you never had McGregor there to take the ball out, but I'm also not going to jump on that narrative as something that, we would have won that game if McGregor was there, because at the Ibrox game he was fucking non-existent. He was getting pelters back then. Who's to say he would have been the ball carrying midfielder we needed? It could have been just as bad, but I think in the midfield, I feel like that's where they looked a bit more hungry than us, or their players were more up for it. And the cliche of wanting it more on the day, I think, came to fruition in that game, because you can't go 2-0 down at home to your rivals, and as you said, it was a mountain to climb.
It was a huge mountain to climb, and hopefully we learn a lesson for the next trip to Ibrox, because the thought of losing 3 derbies in a season is something that Celtic fans haven't had to deal with for a long time, and I cannot picture the perfectly normal reaction we'd see to it online. We'd be tearing up and starting again. Listen, we've got a long way to go. We've got a big game this weekend, which we're going to preview later on in the video. We've got to talk about a few concerning factors, including one of Kasper Schmeichel, who is out for the foreseeable future. Now, he went down with an injury, you all know by now, shoulder related, against Portugal in their Nations League match earlier this week. We then heard speculation he could have been out till September. That was then kind of debunked this morning by, we're recording this Thursday night as usual, debunked by the Danish national team boss, who said he'll be out for at least a few weeks, maybe longer. Dylan, how worried are you about Schmeichel being out?
Obviously it's no good news, Ryan, but I think the good thing is obviously the league's pretty much wrapped up into the semi-finals of the Scottish Cup, which, with all your respect to it's like we've got the easier bit of the door, I guess you could say, but I think it'd be interesting to see Sinisalo getting a good run out. I'm assuming it's not going to be Scott Bain, hopefully. But especially because he's young and he's got that promising future and stuff, and obviously he'll be working with Schmeichel behind the scenes, and even Schmeichel injured will still be running about helping him out and stuff, so I think it could be a really interesting thing to see, but obviously it's no good to see Schmeichel getting that big. Was it September when was it?
Well, it might. The way they've worded it is there's no fracture. The MRI's returned with nothing abnormal, or the X-rays returned with nothing abnormal. There's still more tests to be done. I think that by the time this podcast is up, Brendan Rodgers might have given us a little bit more insight to it. There's a potential this could be season ending, but I think that you've got the nail on the head. It's I think for Celtic fans, what to do now is not to get too carried away and too over the top with the negatives, Dylan, and look at it with the interesting situation that you've put out on the table. Let's look at it for the positives. The league's wrapped up. It gives Sinisalo a run up. It's maybe only the cup that's the real concern that we're missing him for. So I guess there is an interesting dynamic there. It's no ideal, Kieran.
No, it's far from ideal, but the way I'm looking at it is, when we signed Kasper Schmeichel and Sinisalo, the whole idea that the Celtic support garnered for that was Schmeichel for a season, and then it'll be handing the reins over to Sinisalo. Obviously, that's not quite happening because Schmeichel's signed the extra year.
Yes.
But with Sinisalo, I mean, even though he's already a Celtic player, and it's maybe no the term to use it, I'm thinking this is his audition for the potential number one spot. This is maybe a time where you see if he's ready, that he could take over for Schmeichel when he hangs up the gloves, because up until now we've only seen him against Wraith Rovers.
Didn't face a shot.
So you don't really know what he can do. He's gone into some games where we will be facing shots on goal. He's got to need to be in good form, and you're just hoping that we have signed somebody that we were praising the sort of transfer policy in the summer out. All right, we're actually lining somebody up. It's all right getting in an older goalkeeper, but now we've got a player for the future here. This is the time to see if he's going to be good enough, and I'm rooting for him.
How do you look at Hearts as a first opponent from Dylan? In the sense that they're one of the better teams in the league. They usually come to Parkhead and make chances. How do you look at it? Are you on the side of good because he'll be tested and that's what we need to see and need to learn about him, or are you looking at it in more of an, I don't know, pessimistic sense, to like, oh, I'd rather Schmeichel was there because, you know, these shots can turn into goals.
To be honest, I think what you said there, I think I'm more happier at its Hearts, because like sometimes I'm a fan of like getting people thrown into the deep end. Like I think you've seen that a lot with, like, I think it was Alistair Johnson at Ibrox. Even we had Scott Bain's first game at Ibrox as well. So we've seen all that. So it kind of get. I'm only joking. He was actually alright that game, but
he dropped a good game.
I did. He actually did. Really fair play. But nah, I think it helps that it's maybe not Tynecastle. Because like let's be honest, like, even normally we're a wee bit with Tynecastle. So the fact that it's Celtic Park, good home support, try to bounce back for the derby defeat, and as you said, Hearts could probably bring their game, and hopefully we see him tested a wee bit just to get a good feel of what he's going to bring to the table.
It's all about shot stop ability, and at the end of the day, I feel that any keeper at Celtic should be able to stop shots. We're signing good quality keepers. He was Exeter City Player of the Year for a reason. And people will go, oh, it was Exeter City. Well, they face a lot more shots a game than what Celtic do. So he's clearly somebody that's got talent there. I think that when these things happen, and it's been evident since Schmeichel got injured, it raises a little bit of, people get scared, people get frightened. They're like, oh, we're gubbed. I'm like, no, not necessarily. The boy's a professional goalkeeper for a reason. So if he does his job, we should be fine.
I know, we're not just pulling some old guy out the pub and barely hanging out his grey joggers.
What's his name? Him that played for Lincoln? Or was it Lincoln?
I know, it was
Wayne Shaw or something?
The one that ate a pie on
Aye. So it's a he's in the goals on Saturday. Like, and I feel like it just raises such a paranoia when these sorts of things happen, and I don't think it needs to exist. And I think, honestly, it spawns from the last result. I think it spawns from the Rangers game. I think there's just a sense of paranoia over everything.
I think with the goalkeeper position, but because there's never any rotation in it, it's the unknown. Like, for the most part, as we said, this boy's played one game for us, and you said they never really faced any troubles that game whatsoever. So it does kind of feel like a re-debut, because now he's going to have a lot more today. I was just looking at Hearts' form there. You're looking at 4 wins in the last 5, only defeat was against Hibs in the derby. So, and they've also got that striker they signed in January that scored 6 and 7, I think.
Yeah, pretty good form.
So, I mean, it'll be another test. What's the script in terms defensively as well? Like, is trusty, but
God, you've jumped right into the match preview. Good on you. That's what I was going to do next. So it looks as though Trusty won't be fit. Liam Scales, we're still waiting. This is the problem about doing a podcast on a Thursday night, because Brendan Rodgers hasn't told us much yet. I think there's a real chance that tomorrow's back 4 could be Johnston, Vickers, Nawrocki, Schlupp. I think there's a real chance that could be the back 4 tomorrow, unless we get confirmation that Scales is ready to go. So
I mean, the Rocky was like, I think a lot of people say that, like, even though we always 3-2 Rangers, like, he was like,
I thought he was the best at the back 4.
He looked like the one that was playing all season, and he stepped in for the first time, and was it, I'm sure it was him that blocked the. No, was it him that blocked the chance Sherney had in the first? I'm not sure, but
I've absolutely blocked that game. Fucking memory.
I've still not went back and watched it.
I thought he was like the positive out of a bad bunch that day. Like, obviously Johnston and even Vickers, I thought was a bit.
So if I was to rhyme off to you, Sinisalo, Johnston, Vickers, Nawrocki, Schlupp, how do you feel about, what is your first initial instinct to that? back four.
I had to ask what pre-season friendly were.
What would you say to it, Dylan? Like if it was a
Like sitting here the now, I'd probably be alright with it, to be honest.
aye.
Maybe drop Johnston after that Rangers game. Nah, like especially I think the Rockies
Rousted in.
earned the right to have another start, to be honest with you.
That's
if
fair.
Trusty's unavailable in skills, so
I think that's fair. I think that there's obviously it's not ideal. You if you had them put in front of you and you had the fully fit Schmeichel, Johnston, Trusty, Vickers, Schlipp, you'd obviously choose that. But I don't think that there's call for panic stations.
I think in the current circumstances with everything that's went on, I don't think I can sit here and say, oh fuck no, I would put MD else in. I don't think we're obviously limited in option, but I'm no wetting the bed or that back five if you will. if it goes bad, then that can be the
Podcast
to the next one.
Hearts have been good. They've really picked up under Neil Critchley compared to when the last time we played them. They're obviously through a Scottish Cup semi-final as well. And they come to Parkhead and they always, similar to Rangers, they always like to get stuck in. They like to go with things a bit of direct manner. I think that this is a real opportunity for Brendan Rodgers to really stamp some authority back into the Celtic team, but also on the whole division itself. So a big win tomorrow would be huge for Celtic. I mean, like a good few goals. We need a really good performance, and more importantly, I'll come to two E's in this, so feel free to chip in whenever. There's a few players that really need to pick their heads up because Kuhn has been maybe off the boil a wee bit. Tati's been in and out of form and being spoke about a lot. Johnston obviously off the back of a bad derby. This is a big game not just for the manager but a lot of these players as well.
Mm-hmm. I mean, in terms of individuals, you picked out Nicholas Kuhn there since Bayern. I feel like Maeda's obviously stepped up to the plate, but I think that's allowed other people that were maybe chipping in with goals and assists to sort of take the back seat a wee bit, and you don't really want to see that because there was quite a narrative of who's going to end up with player of the season, Nicholas Kuhn or Dyson Maeda, but now it's not even a question. Unless Nicholas Kuhn has a magnificent run of form at the end of the season to make it a question again, but right now he's sort of drifted off the levels he hit earlier on this season, and it's disappointing to see, but you know it's there, and you're hoping that they're all hurting after a defeat at home to your biggest rivals. People should be fucking raging after that, and as you said, I think it's a statement performance we need on Saturday, and I'm hoping that's what we get, because I would hate to, obviously you want the 3 points, but I'd hate to limp over the line to get the 3 points. You want to go out there, as you said, certain players need to fucking get the finger out, basically.
Aye. What have you made of Kuhn recently and some of these other players?
Aye, it was especially the Rangers game. It was noticeable right away, wasn't it, in the first half? Like I was kind of happy. Like obviously I love Kuhn, but I think it was a good decision for Rodgers to take him off first half. It's good that he like had the bottle to do it. Like sometimes you have managers try and see it out, but after that first half, I think it was a no-brainer. But
That's Kuhn's got to use that though, hasn't he? That's
of course, definitely his motivation just to like get his kick himself back up again. But I think one of the main things as well, I don't know about you, but I don't know if it's just Rangers games, but see the way we've been starting games, it's like we've just been starting far too slow. Like you're talking about the Rangers game, you gave yourself a amount of climbing. You seen it in the second half, we probably should have won the game, but obviously a couple of mistakes. But I think that's one of the key things going into the game against Hearts, just for these players. Hopefully that Rangers game was a wake-up call to like get themselves more into it. As you said, Hearts will be a physical team, so it's just been interesting to see how we line up the way we start the game on Saturday.
Aye, and the midfield's not even like dead on either, because we still don't know if McGregor's ready to come back. We don't know if Bernardo's ready to come back. He was doing a Celtic TV
thing
today, so I think that maybe alludes to the fact he might be ready for selection this weekend.
They also done that fucking daft AI anime art thing or something.
You were a big fan of that.
What the fuck is this?
I had the idea that was a trend.
Nah, neither.
I thought I was pretty in the know when it came to brain rot and memes and whatnot, but I've never seen this. I had no idea it was a trend. I would love to see Bernardo back in the Celtic team this weekend. Whether it's on the bench and coming off the bench later on, or whether he starts, I think we've missed him big time. I think the quality he brings, even if he's coming off the bench, Dylan, is something that Celtic have really missed when they've needed to turn to somebody.
Aye, definitely. You said it earlier, even if he's on the bench, it's just a massive option to have and towards the end of the season. Because I think, like, you've seen it in the Rangers game, I don't know about you, but it felt like there was just no option sometimes for the bench. But don't get me wrong, I think a question I was going to ask you is, like, would you play Yang on Saturday? After the way, because I thought he was alright when he came on against Rangers.
It's a weird one, isn't it? Because I remember saying when this question was getting brought up a lot prior to the international break, I said, well, he's not going to start in the Cup against Hibs. He's not going to start against Rangers. So after the international break, I think I'm more than happy to see him get his starts. But now that we need a wee bit of a lift from Kuhn or whatnot, I'm like, well, does it wait another week? I'm not mad if he does start. I don't know what I think about it, to be honest.
I know it is down to Rodgers and his individual man management into it, because as we're saying, you want to get that lift out of Nicholas Kuhn, but are you going to get that by benching him again and starting Yang ahead of him? Yang might be more deserving of the start, but I think we know what Kuhn can do, and I think you really need that for the final run-in. So for me, I don't think I would start Yang ahead of him, despite Kuhn's drop-off in performances. I still think you've got to kickstart that again.
So I would naturally take us into the starting 11 prediction at this point of the match preview. First of all, I'll open the floor to you though. Anything about this game at the weekend that I've not touched on, I've not brought up that you would like to mention? I like taking a step back from hosting sometimes.
I'm trying to think if there's anything we've no hanging to. I mean, there's got to be that protest on London Road.
Oh, is that happening?
Mm-hmm.
Aye, I've been pretty off the oil recently when it comes to
1:15, I think, outside the police station.
Ah, good. That was a disaster in the last game, wasn't it?
It's a shambles, wasn't it?
Because it was like maybe 10 minutes into the game, I was like,
We noticed it. We noticed it.
The fuck? But nah, it was just a brutal day all round. But nah, that was fucking bang out what happened.
Aye. I hope that the voice gets through. But you know what, the people on the other side are like ignorant to what's been said and the supporters' needs and wants. So we'll see what happens from it. But solidarity with the fans who were affected. Dylan, anything in the open floor you'd like to bring up?
I don't think so. I think we've covered everything. I would probably like to see what you thought was. But what did you think of our slip against Rangers?
Quiet.
No.
Quiet.
I thought it was a hard one because I feel like obviously there was a lot of players that weren't at their best, but I feel like he was trying to make things happen at times and all. Do you know what I mean?
I think out of the four, he was the player who I came out of the game with the least. Whether positive or not, because Nawrocki I left going, he impressed me. Vickers I left going, didn't look the way that he usually looks. Johnson I left thinking, what a wanker. But Schlupp I never left necessarily thinking anything, which is probably a good thing, because if you don't have anything to say, then normally they've done alright.
Do you know what's happening with Greg Taylor? Is he going to be? Do you think he'll be in the squad?
Surely. I mean, it was out because his wife gave birth.
I had that.
So surely everything's done now.
He's still in fucking paternity.
How long paternity leave do you get as a professional footballer? Right, anyway, starting 11 predictions. I think it's really tough. Because we don't really know the fitness situations with a lot of these players. Sinisalo will obviously be in goals. Do you think it'll be that back four that I rhymed off earlier?
I think so, aye.
And you find I've asked Dylan, what's your thoughts on that? Did I ask you?
I said that with the current circumstance, I think that's what you can really go with, and I'm not too worried by it. Another test for Nawrocki, but you might see players that are on the fringes, albeit maybe not under the best circumstances, getting a chance, but hopefully he can do well. Same as Sinisalo.
Do you think if Scales is available, Scales plays over?
I think he will start ahead of him, but
I think so, but I don't think I'd want him if they disrespect the Scales, but I don't know. I just like to see more in there.
I know. The whole situation's just weird.
It's always been a thing. It's just been a bizarre one, isn't it?
Aye, really strange. Midfield free. I mean, once again, hard because we don't really know.
We don't know the certainties as to who's.
And do you think it'll be the same free it started against Rangers if McGregor's not fit?
I reckon so, aye.
Unless Bernardo's miraculously good to start. And then the front three, will it be Yang? Will it be Kuhn?
Kuhn, Jota, Maeda.
Do you agree, Dylan?
I'll go Kuhn, aye. I think Rodgers will still stick with Kuhn, to be honest.
Well, there you go. There's your team prediction. One of the harder team predictions.
Probably the hardest this season.
Probably the first time I've not had to say, team picks itself.
People will be glad. On to the half-time quiz, which today, for the first time in a long time, is a tic-tac-toe. It's felt like a hot minute since we've done one of these. So I'll put a graphic on screen to aid the viewers at home so you know what's happening. It's going to be right in front of Kieran's face. You can't see Kieran anymore. It's a tic-tac-toe. Dylan, have you played in a tic-tac-toe before?
I don't think so, no.
No, you
I felt it.
Yeah. So it's just
Nuts and crosses.
it's just nuts and crosses. So I have got a list here of what I want to do, but it's got a twist this week. You two are actually going to get to pick a couple of the last teams to be featured on it, but the teams are not compatible, so it's not like, so for example, if you say PSG or something like that and he says Man United, they're not in the same, do you know what I'm saying? Like they're on the same, aye. So you're not getting a cheat or anything.
Aye,
here.
so it's not he says one of my hundreds of players that played for that.
It's not like that. So, but you've only got a selection of some teams, so I'm going to give you the options just now. Kieran, you can have anybody from Ajax, Monaco, Arsenal, Atletico, Barca, Bayern, Chelsea, Dortmund, Galatasaray, Inter, Man City, Milan, Lazio. Basically any of these teams. Real Madrid, Roma, United.
I'll go Barcelona.
He's gone Barcelona. And Dylan, the same question goes for you out of all these teams. Is there any that tickles your fancy?
Go
Man United.
Yes.
Right, okay. So, overall, we have on the top row, Celtic,
Right.
Barcelona, and Manchester United. That is the top row. And down the side, we have PSG, PSV, and managed by Jurgen Klopp. So here's your aid here. Pretend that's Celtic up there. And I'm going to flip a coin. So Kieran, heads or tails?
Heads.
Sorry, heads or tails? Oh, that's why we need a producer. It's heads. So Kieran, you get to put your player down first. Where would you like to go?
I'll go for Barca, PSV, Serginho Dest.
Serginho Dest. Okie dokie. Let's see if it's an eligible answer. Of course it is. Serginho Dest is first off. Dylan, where would you like to put? Now, pretend Ajax is Celtic, as I said.
I'll go PSG, Barca, Neymar.
Neymar, that's a good shout. No Celtic ones yet. We're holding off on Celtic suggestions, but we've got Neymar into the list. Kieran.
I'll go Man United, PSG, Ugarte.
Oh wow! I was expecting to hear maybe Angel Di Maria.
I was going to, but
Change
thought
that
I'd show
a little
off.
bit. Okay, so Dylan, you know where you need to go to stop Kieran from winning here. You need to go for managed by Jurgen Klopp and Celtic.
I'll go Klopp, Celtic, Van Dijk.
Van Dijk, correct answer. Good stuff. Right, Kieran, you've just got to pretend that there's a wee Sellik shirt in there, right? Or a wee Dylan shirt. So where do you want to go?
I'll take PSV, Man United, Memphis Depay.
Oh, Memphis
Bastard.
Depay. And where did you say that was for again? PSV United. Okay, so once again, Kieran in a decent position. Dylan, you need to give us a United managed by Klopp. I've got one in my head anyway.
Man U, Klopp. That's a good one, isn't it?
I've got one in my head.
I think for his Dortmund days already, and that's what you Man U.
It's quite a good one this week. I'm enjoying this.
I can't even go on for that.
So I think if he played for Dortmund. Nah, I can't think right, so I'm just going to to save his time. I'll go Celtic. If it was a PSG was the top left.
Yes, Celtic PSG was up there.
Eddie, just because I
Eddie's
can't.
up there. Right, hold on. Let me just catch up on the grid here because I need to just make sure. There we go. And then you said Memphis Depay in here, didn't you? And Dylan said, who did you say again?
For that one there, Edward.
Edward, right. Okay, so Kieran, you've got a path to win the game. You've got a couple of paths to win the game. You can go PSV Celtic. You can go Man United managed by Klopp to win the game.
For the shit. I don't know if they've played for PSV. Fuck.
Now let me just say, I could only find off the top of my head, no, not off my research earlier. I'd have to double check 2 eligible answers for PSV and Celtic.
That's what I was
See,
thinking.
I've got one in my head, but honestly, it's a gamble because.
Okay, well, it's up to you if you want to take the gamble. It would open up the opportunity for Dylan to win the game. Remember, if you
I know.
Don't worry, I can't get it.
But what's the other one?
United and managed by Klopp.
See, I can't fucking think of any. Well, I can, but I don't know how long this player played at Dortmund if it was in the time frame.
I've got one in my head.
I think I'm gonna gamble on
Right,
the United
okay.
one. Mkhitaryan.
So, Henrik Mkhitaryan.
Good luck spelling that.
Henrik
That's a shout.
Because Klopp went there in like
Mkhitaryan.
2015 and Hingy went in
Is
2016.
Henrik Mkhitaryan an eligible answer? Yes, he
Good
is.
shout, by the way. Good shout.
See, for the PSV Celtic one, did Vinegar of Hesselink?
Yes,
Aye,
he did.
I could have won the other way then.
Jan Vinegar of Hesselink and Evander Snow.
Oh, I
Would
didn't
have
know
been-
Snow.
Is that who you were thinking?
Aye, that's a very
Hesselink was the one I
Man
was gonna
United,
go for.
Klopp. You could have also had the one that came to my head. Shinji Kagawa was the one that came to my head.
aye.
His time at
I'd have been there all
Dortmund.
day.
And then obviously every other grid. The only other one we didn't get round to was Barcelona, managed by Klopp. You could have had
Coutinho.
Probably a few others that have
Aye.
came and gone other times, but can't think of a lot of Barca players off the top of my head.
Weird to do Dembele
I
back
don't
into
think,
the
I don't
Dortmund
think he
team,
was
aye.
there when Klopp was there, to be honest. Well, maybe he was, actually. Maybe. Because you forget how late he was actually there. You always associate Dortmund and Klopp with like 2012, 2013, but you forget he was there like 2014, 2015 as well. So, well done. Like, I enjoyed that.
That was good.
That was good.
That was good.
We
That
need
was
to
good.
demerit him.
We do need to demerit them. It's been a long time. And that wee website's quite handy as well. That website's quite handy. I just wish they had a Celtic option, but we're neglected, as always. Right, back into the Celtic news for today. Dyson Maeda is to be offered a new bumper contract. Reports came out yesterday night that, or at this point, a couple of nights ago, that Celtic are set to offer him a new deal. Now it's just a matter of will he accept said deal. Kieran, I'll start with you. I mean, how good a bit of news is this?
I mean, it's very good. It's good for him as well because it's reflecting on the impact he's had in the team. A lot of criticism in January about not going out and getting the striker. The money we've saved on a striker in January, just get it out of you. Dyson. 10 million signing bonus.
Every penny.
But you do want to get him tied down. We sat and spoke about this in the last couple of podcasts. Is he a sort of player that he probably will attract interest if he keeps up his form? So you need to try your hardest to keep him here. You see what happened with Kyogo when we thought we were safe to keep him here. You're hoping this deal will see us keep him for the next few years. But as I said, I've been stung before. So
Dylan, it's maybe not a case of looking at it like, oh, this guarantees he's here for the foreseeable future. But what it does guarantee is that he'll probably be here next year, and 1 year is better than no years. There'll be a lot of teams interested if he signs this contract. That basically keeps him here for another year.
Yeah, definitely. It's like guaranteed, and then especially if his contract's no fully run down, you should hopefully get a bit of money from him if he does leave. But no, as you say, it's brilliant news. And I think even before Maeda hit his form, like I'd always loved Maeda as one of the players, just because we always talk about his work ethic. And he was just always been a hard working player, always put his head down, go on weight and stuff. He's just a great player to have around, especially now that he's improved and he's shooting and everything else. And it looks like he's actually enjoying his football as well. It's like, see some players that aren't as like passionate. Something you see Maeda's really taking it all in and knows he's one of the main men now for Celtic, so it's great news.
Just as a precursor to any further discussion here, I hope that he does sign the contract, just in case we end up with egg on our faces. But I think you're right, Dylan. I think you can see there's a joy around them being here, and I think people will maybe go, well, it looked like that with Kyogo or whatever, but I don't know, I just get the feeling that Maeda is happy, and if he's given a deal that rewards that form, then, you know, even if it is for 1 more year, I could see him being happy to sign it. And it's good business. What I think, this was the point that I raised in my video today, and I'll open the floor to you in a moment, but I think what it shows from Celtic is better initiative when it comes to our best players, rather than going, right, we know that teams are going to be in for him next year, we know we could potentially make £20 million on him, but no, we want to keep him, and we're going to give him the contract to make sure we keep him. Is that a healthier approach now to building something special, Dylan, than maybe the approach we took with O'Reilly or Dembele or Edouard or whoever? Is this better to go, right, we've had you for 3 years, but we want you for more, rather than just going, right, take the money where we can?
I think you've got it spot on there. I think it's like a nice wee refreshing way to do it, because I don't think we a lot is expected this news like in the last couple of days. So to get him tied down and to get him like at that point in his career as well and stuff like that, I think it's just all round great business. And hopefully we keep doing stuff like that in the future.
What do you make it?
I mean, I was drawing the parallels to thinking about the way Kyogo, where I thought we were safe with him. Obviously, one of the main talking points when Kyogo left was he was desperate to get himself in the plans for the 2026 World Cup. It would probably be his last chance at getting in a World Cup squad for his country. He missed out in the last one whilst playing at Celtic. You've seen, even though he's not been playing at his new team, it guaranteed him a call-up to the national team, which is absolutely mental. But the thing you've got in our favour with Dyson is he seems to be a mainstay in that Japan team,
Really
even though he
likes
plays here. I mean, I think the Japan manager is very aware of what we just spoke about, his work ethic and everything he brings to the team. So maybe that's why he's been given the pass of getting called up for, even though he plays in Scotland. But we're talking about getting this new contract in. It's also leading up to, as I said, the World Cup. He's got another season after this finishes before the one in USA, Canada, Mexico next summer. As long as we get him and we'll keep him until that, he'll also be at an age where even if he has an absolute like cult hero status World Cup next summer, he'll be at an age where not a lot of big clubs will be after him, and you're hoping that we could keep a hold of him, but he'll be like 20.
Oh, he's 27 now
So
or something like
probably,
that.
I don't know when the man's birthday is, but talk about being 28, 29 by the time that World Cup rolls round. So you're hoping that we can sit here and hope as much as we want that he'll stay forever, but you just want him tied down for the foreseeable.
His birthday's the 20th of October. He'll be 28 in October this year. So by the time that World Cup's done, he'll be like going on to become 29. By the time that World Cup's done, you'd like to hope it's maybe an age where teams go. But then again, he's an anomaly, isn't he? He's just he's not showing any signs of slowing down. Could be 50, and I reckon he'll run at that pace.
Did we not talk about it in this podcast about like Japan have had players that have played in
Aye,
the J
aye,
League
aye.
until they're like 50.
Aye.
Nakamura only hung up the bits like last season.
Aye, 47 or something.
My weight is think Dy's no play them. And when will he lose the pace?
Oh man,
62. Honestly, man.
With Zimmer.
2062. Honestly, not a Scooby, man.
I reckon he's the kind of player that could play into his 40s, barring injury and stuff.
Probably could.
The way he goes about, he's like
The level of fitness he's got is ridiculous.
I know. And I think that's one of the most important parts about keeping him, isn't it? He's probably the most unique player I've ever seen at Celtic. Like, he was the guy that came through the door straight away. We were bewildered by his pace. We were just like, whoa, this guy's fast. Very quickly we established this sort of opinion of him. I think every Celtic fan was of the same mindset that technically he wasn't a very good player, but he made up for it in his physical attributes. Then he flips that on its head and shows a real technical side to him this past year since he grew hair in his head. And he's just generally one of the most unique, special players I think we've ever seen.
I was actually going to add that about the hair. This new contract should specify he's not allowed to shave it again.
Dylan, looked as though you were going to say something.
Well, I was just going to say, I know what I love about him as well, the fact, like, see when you're like, sometimes you can have a good game of parky and you're like falling up or something, and he's just still always hassling defenders, chasing the ball down, no took his foot off the gas, and it's just unbelievable. He's just such a great player.
On that note, here's one of the bigger, wider context questions that I kind of thought from this. And it was, is Maeda maybe the player that should define a change in wage structure at Celtic? Is he the type of player that you would go out your way to go, right, give him more money, keep him here, make sure we keep him here, and let's begin re-evaluating how we pay our players at Celtic and maybe looking at the wage cap and different things like that? Is he the type of player you'd do that with?
How much do you think he's on now? What is the online speculation on these websites?
Well, I know that McGregor's reportedly on something between £35,000 and £40,000 a week, apparently.
I think Carter Vickers is up there as well, according to some
Assuming
sites.
Schmeichel, but we don't know.
I don't think so.
No, the baby's over.
See, the thing is with Joe Hart as well, he was only on like 15 grand a week.
Oh, was it?
Only.
No, I mean, like, he wasn't coming in like big name and become the top earner.
According to Salary Sport, who say McGregor and Vickers are both on £37,000 a week, they say that Maeda's on £18,000 a week.
I wouldn't be surprised if he was in this new contract offered just under like the very top line, or matching the
I
tackling.
could see him fly. Well, I mean, put it this way: outside of McGregor and Vickers, he's definitely going to be the highest earner at the club.
Aye.
Above Forrest, who's on 19 grand, Kyogo, who was on 19 grand.
I think it's the fact, but it's to match the contribution to the team, and I don't think anybody at the club should be able to dispute his contribution to the team this season. If he's
Especially if he's going to get player of the year, maybe. Probably.
he's been the absolute star player, so he deserves to be up there with the high earners, and hopefully it's enough to convince him to stay here forever until he's in his 40s, still running.
We're really convinced he's still playing his 40s. I mean, that's who's next then, Dylan? Who's next after Maeda? Who do we need to get contracts given out to? Try to think. Vickers got one recently, didn't he? I think.
Did he get me?
Aye,
Last season?
I think so. He's
Mind there was a mad flurry contracts like the start of last season.
O'Reilly, Hatate, yada. I'm trying to think who would actually be. Would you get Kuhn maybe?
Maybe Kuhn, aye, because obviously when we signed Jota, he's obviously got the full back, didn't he?
Aye.
So I couldn't obviously, because I know we've been talking about he's had a bit of a downward spiral now, but he's still probably the second best player this season, and his improvement for last season was just second to none, and he's been brilliant. A lot of big goals, so he would be probably an important man to have for next season on the future as well. But who else?
I think.
I think that everybody's probably
Alistair
decent
Johnson just
positions.
got his
Aye.
new
So I
contract.
think
So,
we're
A lot of them are in the right positions, aren't they?
well equipped. So Kuhn maybe is the only one that comes to my mind. Oh well, there we go. Dyson Maeda hopefully signs it. Sign the contract, big boy. It was uncomfortable for many different reasons. Right, Twitter questions. Let's get into them.
Right.
While Kieran is preparing Twitter questions, Dylan, anything to say this week? Any thoughts on Dylan's mind?
I was just going to ask you, did you enjoy Raw?
I did.
Aye.
I can get why some people were maybe underwhelmed. It was a pretty standard weekly episode, considering it's maybe the road to WrestleMania. But no, listen, I've never left a wrestling event in my life feeling hard done by. And when I'm in the same building as John Cena and CM Punk, I'm pretty happy.
Oh, nice to see him one more time on it.
I know.
Live.
I'll get to see him again in one
I
boo.
did not boo him.
Did you not boo him?
Nah, the goat.
I was calling him a rat and everything. Fucking rat.
I seen your Belgium. I was like, fuck your shit.
I've seen that video.
I'd like getting it dishing it out when I can. Right, Kieran's got the Twitter questions.
Right, as always, just the order I see them, and funny enough, yet again, first is Ad the Lad. He says, any kebab pies this weekend? Had one at the Rangers game and it was elite, unlike the performance. Thoughts on the Green Brigade situation, the club's silence, etc. I definitely will be indulging in a kebab pie this
Oh, I
weekend.
can't. I'm not there. I'm out of London, so I'll try and find one in London.
Get London there.
Have you got kebab pies? Walking about Chelsea or film.
And then the Green Brigade situation at the last game, obviously even before the game it was getting denied the
banner.
like the tifo and that because of previous banners. It also on the day resulted in hundreds of fans being kettled for 5+ hours. We don't know what the club's knowledge was of this prior to it. They put out the statement very generic about investigations and such, but I'd be surprised if the club never had an inkling as to what was going to happen.
No, I agree. What I will say is apparently we heard that the chief liaison officer, JP Taylor, apparently he was there the entire time. He made his way along and he stayed with the fans, which credit to him. And I understand he's probably in a situation where he can't shed too much detail on the people are begging him to reply and answer things publicly. I understand he's probably not able to do that as easily as some of us might like. What I will say though, and taking him out of the equation here for a minute, Celtic as a club, their silence is pretty concerning to me. I'm pretty disappointed in my own opinion. I just feel like when it's your own supporters especially who are being treated like this, no matter their political beliefs or whatever they want to show at games, they're still at the end of the day they're Celtic supporters, and to be treated in what I'll say is an inhumane way by the police, not allowed to eat, drink, go to the toilets, whatever, for the club to stay silent on that is pretty disappointing. I hope it's a situation that can be sorted. You can't really sort it. There's no solution. It's done now. It's happened. But moving forward, things need to be done better on both sides, through the police, through the club. It's embarrassing, and it's just another black mark on the policing in this country when it comes to football supporters, which has got to an embarrassing point and concerning point, I think, over the last few years.
I mean, the policing of football fans in this country has been and I think will remain archaic for years to come, but it just feels like a massive backward step, especially, I mean, Saturday night, you're seeing the announcement that they've got special stop and search powers on the Sunday. The second I seen that, I was like, that's going to end
Disaster.
horrendously.
Yep.
But I don't know if the police will see it that way, because they'll see it as no trouble occurred and all that, because they looked at hundreds of fans for the game, ruined part of the spectacle of Scottish football's biggest game. And it was just, I feel like it's a letdown for and by everybody involved, and sadly it's not going to be the last situations like this, but it's mental. I mean, that's 10 years on for what happened at the Gallagate when they were first kettled, almost to the day, a decade later, the same sort of shit's happening. And we always talk about, like, you see the articles coming up in the news, maybe like you see a bit of progression towards, maybe wanting to trial getting drinking back to games and that. It's never going to fucking happen, especially with the people in charge, the way they view football.
I'm starting to think that Police Scotland are happy for boozing to be brought back to give them an excuse to go to the next level, to be quite honest.
But I mean, we could do a full podcast in itself talking about the disparity between the treatment of football fans and fans of rugby and other sports in this country. It is just a class issue. And
that's classism.
There's a documentary to be made on it.
No, there is. Yeah. I feel sorry for everybody that was impacted and kept out of the game. I just hope that something can change soon. But the way that it's run, it's just I had very little hope, to be honest.
Thank you for your question. I'll just put this one in next because we haven't actually covered this, Lewis, but he said, since Dyson might be potentially getting a new contract, do you think the wage structure should be changed to keep our best players and to bring in better quality players in the future? Is this man listening in the studio right now?
I didn't even know that was a question.
And what, Ryan, did you maybe take a wee look through these and steal something word for word? But thanks for the question, Lewis. I hope we answered it in decent fashion. We've got Jack O'Connor here. He says, hail, hail, you gorgeous... I mean, like to say that on the gorgeous Fenians. Dylan, what's your favourite vegetable? Mine is sweet corn. And do we think there's any chance Sinisalo kicks on so much that Casper plays second fiddle? Keep it sexy and walk like Wanyama.
Watch it.
So, vegetable. I'm trying to think about mine is as well.
I think sweet corn's up there.
I hate sweet corn.
No, you're not a fan.
I love a sweet corn. A sweet corn, like a wee...
a single niblet.
Aye, what's your favourite, Dylan?
I think it is that, to be honest. I think the only thing I'd say is, like, it sounds bad saying it loud, you see Brussels sprouts, right? I've always hated them, right? But my mum's did a mad thing when she split at Christmas, put a mad secret ingredient, I don't know what it is. And it's actual, but I made it so good, like, credit where it's due. So I was like, I think that version at Christmas is probably my favourite. She's put
Brussels
in the bottom.
But the actual are decent. I grew up thinking, I'd fucking hate them, but like, I had them at like, a Works Christmas do a couple of years ago. I was like, by the way, they're banging. But sometimes carrots as well can be done like perfect as well.
I famously don't dislike any vegetable. I love all my veg, every single one. You name them, I like them. And it's hard for me to pick a favourite, to be honest.
Every time you say that, I'm like, he's getting sponsored by Big Veg.
I love vegetables, I would never eat anything else. Dylan, on that note, Victor Wanyama, Neil Lennon, we've not even touched on it in the podcast. What do you make it all?
Yeah, I actually love it, man. Like, such a surprise, man. I'm like, I think, is it this week Brown and Lennon's up against each other? And Wanyama, it's like a nice wee reunion, innit?
I know.
It's like makes you feel a bit nostalgic in it. Lennon and Wanyama back together, but that's quite good for Scottish football. And all the Dunfermline fans will be buzzing about that.
Big David Buick's, he's loving it. Listen, I think it's a great appointment. I've said this for years. I can't believe that he's not. I don't know how this gets perceived by a lot of people, because I know Lenny is one of those characters, very divisive, and obviously didn't leave the Celtic job in the best of terms either. But there have been so many jobs that have popped up over the years that I thought Lennon would have been a shoe-in for with the success he's seen up here, and he's never got them. And maybe he's just not wanted them, I don't know. But the fact Dunfermline have got him, I think it's huge. I think it's a massive appointment. I think they've showed real ambition, and I hope it goes well, I must say. I know that you don't think similarly about Lenny.
I mean, I do think, I mean, I can agree with the sentiment that it is a major coup for a club like Dunfermline to get Neil Lennon with what he's done in Scotland. I think it's the kind of manager that will be able to save them for the drop, and if he decides to stay there, if things go well, could probably put them in a real promotion charge next year. he's somebody, especially within Scottish football. We can talk about the way he left Celtic. I mean, we all had our words to say about him back then. Times passed, many words were said.
This podcast was built on it.
I'm like, we should really be thanking him. But no, I do think he'll do well, and I'm actually intrigued to see how Wanyama gets on as well.
Same.
But
Has
I'm
that
like,
game been televised?
Nah.
That's a shot.
too short notice, man. BBC will be kicking themselves.
Right, well, I'd be. They went into East End Park or wherever, or Ayerstay, I don't know where they were filming it. They done a full Sky Sports News broadcast package on it today, graphics and everything, interviews with Lenny and Brun. I'm like, oh my god, we'll just pick up the game and televise
A lot of people
it.
would watch it as well.
I think it would get great numbers if it was Sunday night, innit? Like, is it on Sunday?
No, Saturday.
Is it Saturday?
Saturday, 3 o'clock.
I thought somebody said
Patrick Sellik again.
Sitting in the stands with your phone in listening. Before we move on for that, I'll say David Buick was also in the replies, and he said, if she can't sing and can't dance, is it sound because she walks like Wanyama? So, yeah, you've got your 5 minutes of talking about it, David.
Not for me to say, but yes.
Big time. Who else we've got? Liam McPhee's here, and he says, hello Kieran, hope you enjoyed your international break. Scotland are ranked rotten, eh? Anyway, just wondering, how do you take your steak? And here, mind that time Griffiths scored against Barca in a pre-season friendly? Some laugh, eh?
He always has these very niche memories that I don't know if I appreciate or not, because it makes me feel old.
I love it. Keep it coming.
I think he's inspired I think Liam's inspired a new genre comment, because I think Jack O'Connor's was structured pretty similarly. Like, we're asking a random question, and then well, maybe that's the format all questions are going to come in 6 months down the line.
How do you take your steak?
Medium well. I'm not
You're on the well side, aye.
No. I don't like it too pink, but if it was medium, I could eat it, no bother. But
What about you, Dylan?
I'm the same, but I'm not really, to be honest, I'm not really a big steak.
I'll it's the
back
most
that.
overrated food in the fucking world. But I would go medium rare. I went through a lifetime of my mother making steak one way and one way only. Well done. I'm sure that all of us can relate to that to some extent. And I think that's why I don't like steak that much, to be honest.
I think I'll echo that sentiment.
So I don't like anything well done about a steak, to be honest.
Nathan Green, your Twitter friend, Ryan, he says, a bit light on question front, so I'll give normal and food. Can Navrowski put a run of games together, or will he turn into another Mind Him in 5 years?
But Dylan, you touched on it. What do you think?
To be honest, I'd hope so, just me personally, because I'd always said this to you when I first joined. I was like, what is in the Rocky situation? And we seen him against Rangers, I thought he'd done alright, so I think, especially with, like, as much as I've always loved when Scales came back in and did well last season, but we signed him for decent money, like, at the end of the day at the time as well, and I don't think he'd done much wrong when he first came in, so I think it'd be good to see him get a run of games and see how it goes on.
I would love him to do well, but I think part of me is like, I think he will be on the off mind Navrowski.
I'm resigned to the thought he's not going to be here next year, and that's not because I want that to happen.
I would love him to, as Nathan said, put a run of games together and be
I wish any
standout
Celtic player
player.
to do that. You know,
I don't want anybody here to perform badly or I'm done with him sort of thing. Everybody's got a chance to prove himself, but I feel like he's just not been given that chance whatsoever. And I mean, I think he was in the same bracket as like Lager Bielka as to why have they two just sort of been no gain a chance after the money spent on him. But we'll see how it gets on. And his food question was, what's the best home bacon? So it's quite a broad question, but have you made anything before and you think I'm class at that?
me personally, no.
I think I've made some decent,
Aye,
like the cookie pie things. I think that's my favourite thing to make.
That was nice. I remember you gave me a bit of that. That was nice.
It's a fucking nightmare to make, but
aye. Have you got any tales of being a baker?
Honestly, I'm not gonna lie, I'm hopeless, absolutely hopeless. Helped my mate one time with brownies, so I'll just say that. I'll take a bit apart in that, but I'm terrible, man. Honestly, absolutely terrible, hopeless.
I don't mind. Honestly, it's a boring one, but I think I'm quite good at just making cookies. Cookies is probably my go-to.
Would you say cookies, like, even take away the making it part, like, what would you think is the best thing? Like,
but just baked or together?
Like, what's the best baked good as well, is what we've already answered.
Well, you're talking to a big fan of baked goods here. God almighty.
I've seen Lidl doing a mini egg brownie as well.
Oh, wow.
Bakery section.
My favourite baked good? Oh, God, that's a tough question. Honestly, a donut's baked, isn't it? I like a donut. I love a donut. Simple, effective. So I'll maybe go with that.
Something about a brownie. Does it for me.
I do love a brownie. What about you, Dylan?
Brownie.
Brownie, go with brownie. I
go
love cake. I just love cake, mate. I just love any cake. I just love cake, mate.
Right, thanks for the question, Nathan. We've got fish food here, which I actually think is the Ben and Jerry's fish food.
Someone's laughing at getting asked a question by a tub of ice cream.
There's always a first here.
Yeah.
He's talking about the Maeda contract, but he's saying, is he proven that he can be trusted as a first choice striker over the coming seasons, or would you like him to move back out wide next season to bring in a new first choice striker?
Dylan, I'll let you start. I feel like I'm yapping.
It's kind of, I like both, to be honest. Like, I think Maeda offers you both two different things in the positions, but obviously he's done a great job of like staying there and keeping Maeda on the bench. But me personally, I think I would still love to bring in a striker just for obviously a main striker, and then have Maeda as like an option to do both as well. Do you know what I mean? Because obviously if you get Jota and hopefully Kieran as well, and then me personally, I'd probably keep Maeda left wing next season for the main striker. But he's definitely shown that he can play there, and as we've spoke about a few bits of the podcast, that he's improving his shooting. He's like, even his obviously seen it in Japan as well, his movement in the central position. So it's always a nice headache to have. And
I think my thinking is in very similar vein to Dylan. What I will say is I don't think we should neglect the fact that we need a striker. I don't think we should start to rely on Maeda as a striker. He came to Celtic to play at left wing. He's played at left wing, and I think he plays his best at left wing. What the nice thing is now we can trust him to play there when we need him to play there. But I don't think that should be the aim for Celtic. I think the aim should be to get the best out of Maeda, but to get another striker in as well.
I'd just be saying the exact same thing, so I agree with the sentiment there. I've said the word sentiment like fucking 200 times a day.
Word of the day.
Doesn't even sound real anymore.
stay after the podcast. Word of the day today.
Aidan, that's a question directed at you. Is it time to take Rod Stewart's seat for life off of him and give it to CM Punk?
Yes!
Absolutely.
Yes, I agree. It's a shame that he never got to get to a game. They said he was. Did you watch his interview?
I never watched it in full.
It was good. It was good. They said they wanted to get to a game. They just never lined up for him.
Your season ticket's gone spell this week.
See, the thing is, right, if the club had any brains about them, right, granted, it probably doesn't matter because he's shattered, right, but he's only doing in London this weekend. Like, get a private jet out, fly him up, get him to the Hearts game.
Half time win full.
Aye, you know, they should capitalise on it, man.
It's cool, but when it's seen him with a treble and all that.
Aye, it's brilliant. I mean, this is like, you don't realise how this actually, what this means to Ryan Fitzsimons. Like, this is a weird universe that we're living in. CM Punk as a Sellik fan, like,
because we always joked about it, wasn't it, before Clash, and then he actually did it to annoy Drew, and now he's doing the full whack.
He's doing the tour. Brilliant. I just gutted in it. I was like, saying I seen the interview, I was like, bastard, why did I not work for the club?
Right, we'll go into the last question then. Well, there's two more, but one's not really a question.
Right.
Ryan has asked, what he said, happening lads, what has been your favourite ever European away day? And he also said, what I think is going to be a blasphemous statement, that Sabrina Carpenter is mid.
Wow, what, mid as in like on music, or?
He said she's mid.
I mean, if it's talking about music, I wholeheartedly agree. I actually
part of me thinks it's no music.
Part of me thinks it's no music either, which, you know what, listen, this is not the type of podcast for us to discuss.
If you want to see us discuss that,
$6.99 a month, we'll be on the Thunder Club.
She's mid is absolute lies. Absolute lies.
That's why I say blasphemous.
Dylan's like that. Fuck your Thunder Club, I'm in the rest of the year. What was his first part again?
Favourite European away day?
Have you done any, Dylan?
Nah, I've only had the home games, to be honest, but I've always wanted to do a proper
What's
one.
your dream one?
It was Bayern, I think, to be honest. All Liverpool, because obviously Liverpool's like my thing, me. So, but I've been down to Anfield, but I think just to go as a Celtic fan, that'd be class. And no, I thought it was quite a good wee one. I don't know if you've done it. See, when Gladbach played us in Rodgers,
I would love to.
I was like, it's a nice wee stadium and all the green lights and that. So,
I'd love to.
Stuff like that.
I mean, Munich is right up there now. I thought Munich was great, apart for the last minute of the game. I've always said Leipzig is my favourite though.
Aye.
I just, that whole trip just had a nice vibe to it, and it's really hard to top. That wee night in Berlin and then I just loved that.
I struggle to pick an actual favourite. As you said, Munich is up there now. I think in terms of the result, it's always going to be Lazio,
Aye.
just for the last minute winner.
Well,
But
don't have many results to choose from.
no. We're slim pickings, but obviously that's got to be tapped for the result. But in terms of the actual trip, I'd maybe say Leipzig or Leverkusen. I did really enjoy as well.
Cologne. I like that.
Oh, he's at 3-2. Is it 3-2?
Aye. We also got to go to the probably the worst game of football I've ever seen in my life, and it was Fortuna Düsseldorf versus Heidenheim. Just doing nothing with the ball until the last minute, and then Heidenheim scored, and their 25 fans there, bro, went absolute batshit.
Pinks were flying out on it, so fucking hell.
Try to catch him.
Aye, but I can't wait to get back to it next season there.
And then the last thing we've got is Channel 67 saying, congrats on your Celtic YouTube Show of the Year nomination. Now, I never knew what this was until this comment was made, and I went and checked out the video.
I won Celtic YouTuber of the Year.
Well, we never congratulated you.
Thank you guys. I must say though, I watched the video today, and was it Paul his name is? I think it's Paul. I
think so.
I don't want to get it wrong because that would feel so ignorant to me. But it was a really fun wee video. I'd recommend you go out and watch it. It was good.
It was laid out quite good, wasn't it?
And I liked the setup with the TV incorporated. There was a lot of effort put into it as well, and I was described as your right hand man with left wing politics or something. I was like, okay.
Well, I mean, this could be worse.
Take it.
Could be worse. Could be a right hand man with right hand views or right wing views. You know, could be that. So
I'm glad they identified me correctly politically.
I feel like that. See, when you said that in the chat, I was like, I feel like we don't talk about politics that often on the main show.
Apparently we talk about it enough.
You've got the gist. You've got the gist. It's time for the full-time quiz, which this week is being hosted by Dylan over on the left-hand side. So it's got to be me against Kieran Auld. I have no idea how long we've been recording.
Not a clue. I can check.
This could be a long episode, a short episode. I have no idea. Right, Dylan, take it away, son.
Aye, so it's just themed on Hearts the
Right.
weekend, a wee fun quiz for you.
I need a result, man.
Don't think it's too hard, but not too easy, I guess. It's just trying to balance it a wee bit. So, who's wanting A? Who's wanting
Kieran, you won the half-time quiz.
I'll go set B. It always steers me wrong, but I'm going to go for that.
Jesus.
Right, so, Ryan, question A. Who's scored the most goals against Hearts this season?
And the Sellik team.
Aye.
Right, well, God almighty, for a starters, I cannot remember the scores of any of the games against Hearts for some reason. I feel like there has got to be a logical answer to this, so I'm just got. Do you know, honestly, if you pin me down right now and had a gun to my.
Nobody's pinning you down.
If you pin me down with a gun to my head and ask for the scores in any of the Hearts games this year, I think I can't tell you.
I think I know the score in one of them.
So I'm just going to go for Dyson Maeda.
So, it's actually Adam Ida. Aye. I thought it was a wee thing because it was like only 2 games, so I was like, I wonder if we could catch him out.
I was actually thinking that, but I didn't want to. He's only scored 13, so I was like, right.
Aye. So, Kieran, question 2 is kind of similar on that track. What is the aggregate score this season with Hearts?
That's what I said, mate.
I actually wrote down options and I don't even know. I didn't write the actual answer, but I think I remember it. So. That's the ridiculous of me.
So at Parkhead, was it no Hearts we were playing when Engels was taking the penalty and he was like, 11 million, fucking.
That's right. Aye, that's right. So
was that game 2-0? I think it might have been. And then what the fuck was the score at Tynecastle? I'm going to say the aggregate scores 5-1. Sellik.
6.
Okay.
Aye, 2-0 at Parkhead.
Was it 4 at Tynecastle?
4-1.
Bastard. I couldn't decide between 3
Still
or
in it.
4.
Still in it.
So on to question 2. Ryan, what position are Hearts currently in the league table?
6th.
Oh, correct. I thought that would have caught you. Bastard. Kieran, question set B. With them being a possible opponent for Celtic in the Scottish Cup final, who did they eliminate in their quarter-final game to get to the semis?
Dundee.
Correct.
Aye.
I was actually. I'm glad I'm no your sake. 'Cause I think I'd have rushed in and said Queen's Park by accident. So I'm glad that I didn't go. I know it was Dundee, but I just had Queen's Park in my head there.
And again, Ryan, question A. So what's the score? Is it 1 each? Is that?
One each.
With them being a possible opponent again in the cup final, we last played them in the Scottish Cup in 2023. Do you remember the score?
Well, we played them in the Scottish Cup in 2023. Fucking hell.
I think it was Angie's last season.
Oh, did we? Oh shit! Aye, because that was
Aye.
was that at Tynecastle? Oh, see, I'm getting confused
Is the
between.
question just what's the score?
Aye.
I'm stuck between league games and cup games. I don't want to keep us here all day, so I'm just going to go. Was it 3-2 Celtic?
3-0.
Oh,
Because it was Moy scored.
Ah.
Kyogo. I fuck knows.
Oh, get into that, Kieran. You're getting to that. Get into that. So, question 2 of that part was, can you name all 3 scorers, Kieran? You're starting after that.
It was Carter, Vickers, Moy, and Kyogo.
Correct. You got them all. And that's Kieran in the lead. On to the next one then, Ryan, to get yourself back in it. In the 2020 Cup final against Hearts, who missed the penalty in the penalty shootout against them?
Oh, was it? Oh my! Was it Ryan Christie?
Correct.
Aye.
Ryan Christie.
I remember screaming abuse at him. Never fucking liked you anyway.
So Kieran, question B then. True or false, have Celtic been awarded a penalty in each of the last 6 games against Hearts?
That's so specific.
It's a good wee quiz, though.
I can't even think back before, like, this season's 2 games, but it's so specific that I'm like, maybe it is. I'm going to say false because it was like 5 out of the last 6.
You're correct. I was like, I was looking at back right, and I was like, that's actually quite mad. It was almost 6 out of 6, but I was like, trying to catch it. But well done, Kieran. It was 5 out of 6.
I need to get this right, or Kieran's won.
Right, so Ryan, this is actually quite hard. I feel quite bad now. Right? It's still related to these penalties, right? Ryan, out of the 5 penalties, how many did Celtic score out of the 5?
Right. Out of 5, how many did we score? 4.
3.
Because Ida missed one at time castle.
Kieran, last question. Last question.
That's my answer for the first bit.
So we missed 2 penalties, and Kieran's got 1 of them already. But who missed the 2 penalties out of the 5?
So Ida missed it at time castle, and
Who missed the other one? Is Kieran won actually already?
He's won.
So this is just a wee.
this is just for show off marks. Fucking who had I took up penalties before? If it was before. McGregor.
It was Rio Hatate at Tynecastle. I think it was a 4-1 game. So, well done to Kieran.
Well done.
Hope you've enjoyed that.
I'll get a win one day. For fuck's sake.
Did you have a tiebreaker?
I did. It was aggregate score specifically again the last 2 seasons with Hearts.
14-2. No, that's I don't know. 17-8 to Sellik.
You got to guess, Kieran, or you?
16-7.
No, apparently it's 13-6.
Aye. I wasn't far off the first
Hearts
time.
have been a bit awkward the last couple of seasons.
Aye. Right,
Fair.
well done, Kieran. Thank you, Dylan. That was a good quiz.
Yeah, that was a good
That was
quiz.
the first one of the so hopefully it was alright, lads.
Let us know how you got on in the comments. And as for the main show, that is us done. I'm well done. I'm finished. Thanks.
Having a London, you rang a little short.
Thanks for joining us, lads.
Pleasure
Appreciate it.
always.
We're going to head over to the Thunder Club now. So if you're a channel member, a Thunder Club member more specifically, we'll see you there. If not, then we'll see you next week. As for us today, cheerio, take care, and God bless.